and then we'll come back, and the AV will fly it underneath it again, we'll pick it up, we'll take it out to the pad, a trip of about 4.2 miles. It'll take us about 7 hours to get there. But during our trip to the launch pad, we roll over a specially prepared crawler weight that consists of anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of special rock. Below that is limestone that's about 4 feet thick and compresses the whole weight of the crawler and the mobile launcher. And then below that is some hydraulically compacted sand that can support all the weight. And then once we're there, we'll drop it all off. And a few days later, there'll be a launch. We'll come back, we'll pick the mobile launcher up, and we'll bring it back to the VAB to start the process all over again.
With 50 years and some 3,000 kilometers or 8,000 miles on the clock, NASA expects the crawlers to be in operation for at least another 3 decades. How cool is that? The latest refurbishment is complete, and preparation is well underway for the first SLS mission. The crawler will be doing what it was originally designed to do once again, which is moving rockets.
So now I'd like you to look at the gray stripes on the side of the vehicle assembly building that are facing the road that we're driving on. Those are the tallest doors in the world. 456 feet tall. Takes about 45 minutes to open the door. And the door that's closest to us there, that's called high bay number 3. We are now using that bay to work on our new space launch system. That's the rocket that's going to launch us back to the moon and onto Mars. Now just to give you an idea about how big that door is, we could easily slide the Statue of Liberty on her base through that door and still have 150 feet to clear the top of the door. Now you folks are going to go see a Saturn V rocket here shortly. When the Saturn V rocket was coming out of that door, going out to the launch pad, it only had 6 feet to clear the top of that door. Our new space launch system is going to be even bigger than that. Now you may have noticed we have a little bit of gravel here. This is called the crawler way. And this is basically the highway that takes our space shuttles out to the launch pad.
We're inside the VAB at level 26, 274 feet up. And I can see behind us, right over to the right, the newly added crew access arm attached to this mobile launcher. I want everyone here to meet Cliff Lanham, the mobile launcher project manager. Cliff, can you explain the significance of adding that access arm?
Sure. The crew access arm is one of the last major modifications to the mobile launcher in preparation for SLS Orion. It basically will be the very last place on Earth that the crew will be before they're in the spacecraft and headed to space. Now the weight room provides a contamination-free environment up next to the spacecraft, and as you suspect, it's white. It's the white room.
Makes sense. Now, how does the mobile launcher support the SLS rocket?
The mobile launcher provides fuel and power to the SLS and Orion. It's actually the stacking platform for the rocket. So the platform next to this 380-foot tower that the rocket is actually built next to, and then the umbilical arms attached to it to provide that fuel and power.
Wow. And so does the mobile launcher actually go all the way to the launch pad with the rocket?
It does. And the crawler transporter comes in, picks up the mobile launcher with the rocket, roughly 17 million pounds, transports that entire thing out to the pad in preparation for the launch.
Oh, that is very impressive.
It is. And I hope everyone here today has a great time attending the Space Center. Enjoy all the great exhibits and come back soon.
Today, this part of the coastline, proudly known as the Space Coast, is the epicenter of the aerospace industry, employing over 100,000 people in Florida. What was once a rural farming community just 60 years ago is now a multi-user spaceport, shared by the United States government and private industry. You'll get to see that private industry at work throughout the tour.
So why did NASA choose this section of the Florida coastline to base its launch facility? It's not just because astronauts like the beach. The warm weather provides opportunities for launches to occur year-round. Most importantly, the safest place to launch a rocket is away from the ocean, away from populated areas. there's actually a scientific purpose for launching from. Because with this distance from the Earth's location, imagine yourself riding a carousel. The further you are from the center, the faster you're traveling around the circle. Florida is close to the Earth's equator, so launching from Florida is like diving closer to the outer edge of the carousel. You can harness extra speed while the Earth spinning on its axis to help slingshot rockets into space. When NASA was created, the land previously occupied by the United States Army, Navy, and Air Force became the Launch Operations Center, or LOC, and it was put under NASA's supervision. In 1963, President Lyndon B. Johnson called for the renaming of the LOC to honor the late President John F. Kennedy, who had challenged the nation to land a man on the moon. To this day, it is still referred to as the John F. Kennedy Space Center, or KSC.
So now I'd like to show you the launch pads over at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. How we're going to do that is we're going to look over here on the right, on the other side of the water. You'll see some towers over there. The first set of towers we see, that is Launch Pad 41. And that is where United Launch Alliance launches their Atlas V rockets from. The tall, thin building that you see there, that's where we build the Atlas V rockets at. As you continue to look along the shoreline to the right, you'll see another tall set of towers. That is Launch Pad 40, where most of the time SpaceX launches their Falcon 9 rockets from. And as you continue to look along the shoreline to the right, you'll see one more tall, thin building. Looks like it has horns on top of it. That's Launch Pad 37. That's where United Launch Alliance launches their Delta IV rockets from. But you are here at Kennedy Space Center, and we're heading out to see Launch Pad 39A. That's out here in the distance in front of us. And I have a video here that'll tell you a little bit more about Launch Pad 39A.
Here we are at the home of the most historic launch pads in the world. Just behind me are launch pads 39A and 39B. These two pads launched every single space shuttle mission to assemble and service the International Space Station, to launch the Hubble Space Telescope, to deploy satellites, and to conduct scientific experiments. We're looking out at Launch Pad 39A, where every man who walked on the moon began their journey. 82 space shuttle missions also launched from right here. Since the space shuttle program ended in 2011, this launch pad has been transformed to accommodate a private space organization. Can you guess?
SpaceX, the venture started by tech entrepreneur Elon Musk in 2002, signed a 20-year lease for the use of Pad 39A. You may have watched their Falcon Heavy test flight, the one that sent the Tesla Roadster into space. This is where it launched. The Falcon Heavy rocket is currently the most powerful operational rocket in the world by a factor of 2. SpaceX made history in 2012 when it delivered their Dragon spacecraft into orbit to rendezvous with the International Space Station, making SpaceX the first commercial company ever to visit the space station.
You can see that same Dragon capsule back at the visitor complex in the NASA Now. Since then, SpaceX has made numerous deliveries to the ISS, and some of their Dragon capsules have been used for but the Dragon capsules is hardware they reuse. Yes, I'm talking about reusable rockets. SpaceX expertly lands many of their rocket boosters after launch. Sometimes they land back here at Cape Canaveral, while others may land on an autonomous drone ship floating in the ocean. The ability to recover and reuse rocket boosters is one of the most exciting developments in the aerospace industry in recent years. This advance in rocket technology is helping to bring down the cost of launching payloads into space, allowing more and more exciting technology to be deployed for use.
So Launch Pad 39A here, this was both an Apollo launch pad as well as a Space Shuttle launch pad. And now SpaceX, they have a 20-year lease for this launch pad. They're not going to be using the giant vehicle assembly building. No, they have built their own building right in the middle of the crawler's pathway. And they've been building their Falcon Heavy rockets horizontally in that building. Now they've also installed a rail system that helps them move that rocket up to the top of the launch pad. And then they have a giant arm. That's that white crane looking type thing laying down on the ground there. That's called a strong back. And they use that to help maneuver their rockets up into vertical position.
Hi, I'm John Murator. I'm the Director of Launch Operations here at Pad 39. We got the keys to Pad 39 from NASA on April 14th, 2014, and we started a really radical transformation of Pad. One of the biggest things you notice right away is the big hangar we built because we used horizontal integration for the rocket. And the other big thing that we've done is we've had to convert the pad from what's called a mobile launcher pad concept, where rockets assembled on a pad, or the space shuttle as it was at the time, and rolled here with all of its support equipment to a situation where the pad is sitting on the flight trench, and we just move the rocket to it and lift. 39A is where Americans are going to return to space launching. So we're going to launch American crew members on Dragon, on Kham. What's pretty exciting about this place is this place gives SpaceX room to grow. We can put some amazing big rockets on this planet because it's a huge facility. And we're pretty excited about what this is going to bear for the future of space.
So here at the end of the road is the Atlantic Ocean. That's right, folks. We're at the beach. And they are beautiful beaches out there, too. Now we have about 40 miles of beaches here at Kennedy Space Center. I know that sounds nice. But because we have our launch pads built all up and down the beaches here, that makes these deserted beaches. No people out there. However, the sea turtles, they seem to have figured that part out. And now we have about 4 different kinds of sea turtles that actually visit Kennedy Space Center to nest. So that's kind of nice. Now there's a spot up here where a railroad track used to go across the road. What the big deal about it is it left a little opening up here in the bushes on the left. And it's turned out to be a pretty good spot for folks who would like to get a picture of the launch pad from the window of the bus to be able to do so. If you want to get your cameras ready, I'll go ahead and stop here for a second. Now if you look on the very top of the launch pad, you'll see there's a white pole up there on the very top. That is called a lightning mask. And that lightning mask is how we protect this launch pad from lightning. And that lightning mask is just a little over 80 feet tall. Remember that rocket back to the security gate? Yeah, that was a little over 80 feet tall. That's right, we sent our first American up into space on a rocket that followed this white pole at the very top of that launch pad. Now, if we compare that to the Falcon Heavy rocket that was launched from this launch pad only 4 days ago, the Falcon Heavy rocket goes almost clear to the top of that launch pad. It's a big size difference there. Now you'll notice there's a concrete portion to this launch pad. That is called a flame trench. That flame trench is a little over 40 feet deep and over 450 feet long. Now back when we were launching space shuttles from this launch pad, nobody could be any closer than 3.5 miles to this launch pad during times of launch. That's because of how dangerous it was. But remember that rocket back at the security gate? When we launched that rocket, we were only 300 feet away from that rocket. Now this launch pad here is bigger than that. Now we do things on a far different scale nowadays than we used to. We actually need bigger rockets with a bigger flame blast so we can get deeper into orbit. And speaking about deeper in orbit, we're actually going to head over to see Launch Pad 39B now. It's out here in the distance in front of us. And Launch Pad 39B here, this was both an Apollo launch pad as well as a space shuttle launch pad. And now we're modifying this launch pad for our new space launch system. That's the rocket that's going to launch us back to the moon and onto Mars. Now, just to give you an idea about how big that, well, let me just say this. We have something on this launch pad at the moment that we don't normally have on it. And that is that we have this big gantry system on top of it. That is brand new. That is for our new space launch system. And that is a mobile launch platform. Now, what that means is that we actually will build the rocket on this mobile launch platform in the vehicle assembly building, and then we'll use the crawler transporter to bring this giant mobile launch platform out here. Now, the mobile launch platform alone is 10 billion pounds, and it was only carried up there yesterday. Yeah, so 2 days ago you wouldn't have seen that up there. And what brought that up there was one of our other crawler transporters. See that out in front of us right here?
No,
We'll get a good look at that too. Now, let me tell you a little more about our crawler transporters. Our crawler transporters were built back in the 1960s by the Marion Power Shovel Company in Marion, Ohio. They were shipped here in sections and then reassembled on site. It only took us about 3 years to put them back together. Now they have a surface area on the top of them about the size of a baseball infield. Now they have 8 giant tank-like tracks on them, and each one of those tracks has 71 steel cleats on it. And matter of fact, we have some of those cleats just on the ground up here, next to the road. And each one of those cleats alone weighs 1 ton. Now I'm gonna kind of steer the bus in a way so you folks can get a picture of that. I'll stop the bus for a second. There we go. If you want to get out and take a picture of that, you're welcome to. Now, if you look on the left-hand side of the crawler transporter, just over top of the track, there's a glass cab. That's one of the 2 glass cabs for the crawler transporter. This thing here can't go in reverse. The driver wants to go the opposite way, then he's got to get out, walk around to the other side, and drive it from there. Now you'll notice there's the ramp there. So as the crawler transporter goes up that ramp, it actually has the ability to be able to keep the platform, the mobile launch platform, level as it goes up that hill. So nothing tips over. Now, before I turn here, I want you folks to point out something. I want to point out something for you. You'll notice that there's a water tower there. That water tower there, that holds 300,000 gallons of water. And the pipework going up to the launch pad, well, that holds another 100,000 gallons of water. Now we will put all 400,000 gallons of water on the launch pad in 35 seconds. Yeah, not too bad, right? Now you'd think we'd use that water to control the heat. I mean, after all, that makes sense. But no, we actually use that water to control the sound. Yeah, the sound waves of the space shuttle engines are deadly. They are the second loudest sound next to a nuclear blast. And we don't want those sound waves coming back and damaging the space shuttle as it's taking off. So, you know, as you're watching the space shuttle launch on television, and you see that big billowing cloud underneath the space shuttle? Well, that is mostly steam. Yeah. After the space shuttle takes off from the launch pad, hardly any of that 200,000 gallons of water is left on the launch pad. You could say it went up in smoke. Now, we are asked on a regular basis, is that salt water that we put on that? And the answer is no. We actually have about 800 wells here at Kennedy Space Center that we use to help put fresh water on the launch pad when we do that. We don't want salt water because all that water evaporates almost immediately, and we don't want that salt sitting on the launch pad and corroding the launch pad. So that's why we use fresh water. Now let's talk about the crawlerway here. You see the tank tracks going down the crawlerway here? So the crawler transporter actually straddles the grass as it goes down the crawlerway. And just to give you an idea, this bus is as long as the grass is wide. Yeah, so I could park this bus sideways underneath that crawler transporter. Now, it is about 3.5 to 4 miles long, the crawlerway is, depending on which launch pad it's going to. And the crawlerway is equal to 8 lanes wide. Now the crawlerway is also 7 feet deep, and it's filled with various kinds of sediment all compacted together, and then the last 2 feet of it are covered in this river rock. Now what this river rock does for us is because it's round and smooth, it acts like ball bearings for the giant crawler transporter as it goes over top of it. Also, this rock doesn't spark. Now that's kind of important when it comes to rockets. Now every time the crawler transporter goes over top of these rocks, it actually pulverizes the rocks that it touches. So we actually have to recreate this after every trip. Now, I'd like you to look down the crawlerway towards the vehicle assembly building. And just to the left of the vehicle assembly building, you'll see there's a shorter white building with dark windows. That is launch control. And I have a video here that'll tell you a little bit more about launch control.
Take a look at the 4-story building with the slanted windows as we drive through this area. This is the Launch Control Center, where launch directors and their teams oversee every NASA rocket that lifts off from KSC and gives the final go or no-go. I'm inside the LCC with Charlie Blackwell-Thompson, the first female launch director. Charlie, can you tell us, what does a launch director do?
Well, the launch director's job, I think, is a pretty special job on launch day, and it's really to look at how the team is proceeding through launch countdown. Is there things that we should be doing that we're not? Are we on schedule? Are there steps that we need to be taking? It's really to kind of stand back and take that big picture look at launch. The folks that are on the floor, the team of engineers that are in the firing room, they have a very tough job on launch day, and that's to evaluate the ground and the flight systems and ensure that they're ready for T0 or liftoff.
What does it mean to be the launch director of this very important mission in one?
Well, it's very special. To be part of an inaugural launch team is something amazing, really, and to be part of bringing a new capability to America's space program with the SLS rocket and the Orion spacecraft, and sending them on this mission known as EM1 is pretty incredible.
And what is your role leading up to that big launch?
So leading up that launch day. There's a lot of work that goes into getting the ground systems, the flight systems, and the team ready for that day. And so there's work on preparing the team, doing training, certification, ensuring that they're ready to go. That's the final seconds of launch countdown. Critical landing, critical verifications. It's also about ensuring that the ground systems are ready, all of the capabilities that we want to launch. It's testing them, ensuring that they're ready for launch day as well. So it's about getting the people ready, getting the team ready, getting their paper procedures, defining launch countdown, ensuring that all of that critical work fits together in the most effective and optimal way.
And it's something that we've all heard of, a scrub. What does it mean for a launch to be a scrub?
So when a launch is scrubbed, that means that we have decided that we're no longer going to attempt to launch that day and that we're going to come back